Here are 5 things you need to know before you get into fountain pens. Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. It's Niko from Yoseka here, and today we're going to talk about 5 things that you should know before you get into fountain pens. This video isn't necessarily focused around tips once you get the pen, rather some common things that you should know when you're making the decision of getting into fountain pens or maybe continuing using gel pens, rollerball, whatever you're currently using. So first off, fountain pens can be refilled. There are a bunch of different ways to fill a fountain pen with ink. There are cartridges which come preloaded with ink, which makes them super easy to use. There are also converters that allow you to draw ink from an ink bottle. And there are even some pens that have a built-in piston system, so you actually draw ink from a bottle straight into the ink chamber of the pen itself. Most people like to begin by using a cartridge system just because it's the easiest to understand. And all you need to do to make sure you're using the right cartridge is to look up the brand name of your pen along with the model of it and then cartridge, and a lot will come up on what cartridges are compatible for your fountain pen. If you want to know more about how cartridges and converters work, feel free to check out our video right here. Number 2, fountain pens come in almost an infinite amount of body types and colors. There are pens with caps that pop off, pens with caps that screw off, some can post, others don't post. And then for the trim and metal of your pen, there are so many options like silver, gold, and even some fun ones like bronze or even onyx. There are also always fun limited edition colors and editions coming out for pre-existing pens, so you can get some pretty fun designs that way as well. What type of body and pen you choose is obviously completely up to you. However, to prevent your pen from drying out, we recommend a pen with a tight-fitting cap, one that can post for easy comfort while writing, and a shape that won't easily roll off a desk, which is actually how a lot of people break the nibs on their pens. Number 3, there are so many line width variations in fountain pens. Fountain pen nibs, which is what we call that metal piece where the ink flows through, come in a variety of line width sizes, with the most common ones being extra fine, fine, medium, and broad. However, there are also stub nibs, calligraphy nibs, and if you really go down a deep dive, there are some really crazy ones like the Naginata nib line. A fun fact about nibs is that a lot of them are swappable. Very popular brands tend to sell single pieces of their nibs so that you can interchange them within your pre-existing pen to get a whole new writing experience without having to invest in a whole new pen. Most people tend to prefer a fine or medium-sized nib, so if you're someone who has smaller handwriting, we would recommend trying a fine. Whereas if you're someone who prefers a bit of a bolder type look, we would recommend the medium. Number 4, fountain pens do require a little bit of maintenance. Now, it's probably not as much as you're imagining, but they do need to be cleaned once in a while, especially if you're switching out a lot of inks. There are other things too, like when storing them to keep them nib up and also to write with them often enough, like we would say don't let them go over 3 months without writing just to keep the ink from really getting dry in that nib. If you want to take a look at how easy the process for cleaning fountain pens is, we do have a video on that right here. If that 4th fact scared you, you'll be happy to know that number 5 is that pens can almost always be rejuvenated. They're not as fragile as you think, and 90% of the time, a good soak and clean will often get your pen back into working condition. If something happens to your nib, there are even people out there who are trained to work with nibs called nibmeisters who can actually help you repair your damaged nib. Fountain pens are a really fun hobby, and one of my favorite things about them is how customizable they are. Even though they do take a little bit of maintenance, I feel like being forced to take the time to clean them, pick out ink colors and whatnot, make sure they're in working condition, also makes me value my pens just a little bit more and feel a bit more connected to them. I hope you were able to learn something you didn't know before about fountain pens. And of course, if you want to learn even more, we have so much content on so many types of fountain pens, so feel free to check those out too if you want to know a little bit more before deciding to take the leap into the world of fountain pens. If this video piqued your interest, we'd love to know down below what fountain pen you're thinking of getting for your first one, or if you already own fountain pens, we'd love to hear what your first pen was down below in the comments. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye!